Hello everyone, I'm Billy. Some friends only ended up drilling 4 holes after they sprayed the shell incorrectly. Even if the shell is completely correctly sprayed, drilling 4 holes can still be a bit difficult. Today, I'm going to share with you how to drill 4 holes and get everything fitted properly on the car. What exactly do you need to pay attention to? Let's start right away. Let's talk about what you need to prepare first. Of course, you need to prepare the car. And you also need to prepare the wheels. Also, prepare a full set of leveling/car parts that are able to measure the distance to the holes. Only then can you get the correct distance to drill the holes. So what do you do to make the openings? What I use is a hole-making bit for sanding/grinding. There are coarser ones, and there are finer ones. And you also have reamers. You can use this type too. You can even use something similar. Of course, you need a grinding tool too. Nowadays, you can buy a grinding tool quite cheaply, like a few dozen dollars. Also, you need some marker. And you actually need a ruler or calipers. But you don't need anything too high-end. A ruler is also fine. Because I chose to use the horizontal shell posts. So of course I need to measure how high this shell post is from the ground. How high it is from the ground. After you drill the holes out, it's 42.42. So everyone, pay attention. The shell itself won't be the same as the car's chassis/bottom plate when it touches the ground together. Usually, it sits a bit higher. How much higher? You decide. From 2 up to 4 millimeters is okay. So usually the rear part of the shell, is about 10 millimeters from the ground. At the front, is at 8 millimeters. So, if your car is 5 to 6 millimeters high, then the shell skirts should be around 6 to 10 millimeters, roughly that range. That ground clearance, you need to pay attention to it during the whole process. As you work on it and keep testing, you might need to adjust the shell height a little, but with the horizontal shell posts. The downside is that you have to measure those points carefully so you can control the height. If you use 4 vertical shell posts, it's easier to control the height, but the advantage of horizontal shell posts is that you can still make some adjustments in the front to back direction. After you open those 2 holes first, I'll open those 2 holes first. So, the downside of horizontal shell posts is also like that, meaning the longer you work on it, sometimes there can be slight differences. Sometimes 100 millimeters, sometimes it's about 98 something, so you'd better measure properly. Right now, I'm measuring the height of this horizontal shell post, and also its distance, using the measured height and distance. I drew 2 cross marks on top. So why did I draw the cross mark at the bottom too? Because I'll raise it by about 4 millimeters to measure this shell and the skirt. So, the skirt. Otherwise, it would be with the bottom of the car, meaning the bottom of the chassis/bottom plate. There would be some gap. So I want to raise it by 4 millimeters. You need to pay attention to this, whether you want your car shell to tilt forward or just sit flatter. But either way, it must not be so low that it sits level with the bottom plate. When you sand the car down to the ground, you'll sand the shell first. First, you'll grind the shell, so you'll never be able to use the lowest part of the bottom plate properly. So that's why you should consider, like I did, meaning you can move that position down a bit, down from where it originally was. I chose 4 millimeters. About. I hope that if the rear of the car is 6 millimeters, then the car's skirt will be with a clearance of 10 millimeters from the ground. It's about that. So I'm relying on the shell to act as a fixed support. Some people use a plastic insert where they use a 3D print like a wing/spoiler mounting piece. That mounting piece has a hole where the wing's hole goes down to catch/lock the shell. It's up to you to choose. That's actually a good method. It means you don't need to drill holes. But you'll notice here, now the hole is being drilled at a turning position. So if you use ordinary reamers, it might shift the position. So what I do is use sanding/grinding to make the holes. I'll first drill a smaller hole, maybe 2 to 3 millimeters. Then gradually make it bigger until it's about 6 millimeters, and then the shell post should fit around 6 millimeters. You can go a bit bigger. 7 millimeters is not a problem either. If it's a little loose, even better. For the chassis, it won't interfere with the chassis flex/twisting, best case. And finally, use the grinding tool to sand/grind it to about 6 millimeters. Grind it until it's about 6 millimeters. If the hole is smooth and round, then the chances of the shell cracking/tearing are lower. Look at its turning position. If my grinding method makes the hole very round, but if you use a reamer, it could be dangerous. There's a chance something goes wrong, so you need to do it slowly. After it's finished, you should notice it can move freely in and out front to back. So first, I fitted the rear. Then doing the front is easier. Whether you find someone to spray the shell for you, or you spray it yourself, it's best to leave those hole areas, those hole positions. I taped over it with wrinkles/soapy tape so you can see where the holes are. Then you can adjust the car again, front or rear. Once you find the correct spot, let's assume it's this position. Then you mark it. So this distance is measured. Later, I'll use it to drill the 2 holes in front. So you need to measure how long it is from the position of this hole to how far it is to the shell post. I measured it as about 47 something. Remember this number. Then from this point, measure again about 47 something. I drew this line, and I didn't remove the protective film. So this situation is actually very good. Remember this. After spraying, don't remove the protective film until you've done this step here. At that point, you should be safe. Then measure with calipers again to get the distance of the shell post at the front. Then I find the center point again, and I mark these 2 points. So these 2 points should be fairly accurate. After everything is done, the 4 holes should all be able to move up and down. All 4 holes should be like that. But of course, if you make it too big, there will be too much play. But now, this should be okay. Then tighten/fit the wing and set the car height. Only then can you slide/fix the shell on to adjust. So now, you can still adjust the height, little by little, lower or higher, until you think it's okay. Then draw back the 4 hole positions. So here, don't spray oil/paint here. That's very important. If someone sprayed oil/paint already, you don't have to worry. Wash the oil/paint off. You can just clean those 4 spots. Then you can find the center point of the holes. I marked 4 cross shapes here. These 4 cross marks, I align them using the wheels. Then I draw circles, but after drawing the circles between the 4 wheels, at the rear of the front portion, you need to trim/cut a bit more because it's best when the wheel turns. It hits that area, so you need to cut more here. For the other holes, you don't need to. The rear of the front portion, you need to consider doing it this way. Do it like this. Use these scissors. Cut, 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 until you cut it out. One go, everything is solved. Then cut back the 2 round corners. If you think the edge isn't smooth enough, you can use spray paint/primer plus sandpaper and add sandpaper. Of course, the coarsest sandpaper is already enough. Wrap it and sand around it like that. It'll look much nicer. Of course, the most important part is to check whether the front tires will be blocked/interfered with. For example, here. Now look. The place with the highest chance of interference is those spots. So step back a bit here. So this circle/this frame isn't perfectly round. But the other rear holes can be exactly the same. Now peel off this protective film too. It should be ready to use. Because this is the last step. Then install the wing/spoiler. Recently, one driver at an international event lost his wing. So during the race, it caused him to perform poorly. So everyone, consider using lock nuts. I usually use aluminum screws. That should already be strong enough. And that's it. You're done assembling the shell. Now you can go have fun with it. If you like these videos, remember to like, share, and subscribe for free. Go find the DIY section on Billy Speaks, and you'll find my other tips on building remote control cars. I'll share with you anytime. If you search unboxing, you'll find other unboxing videos. From the Tamiya tank set from 1974, its unboxing video, all the way to today's, the 2026 for 21X unboxing video. There are also. See you again anytime. See you all.